Welcome to the Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio. Keenan Lake is the author of the book My Daddy Taught Me That, published by Welcome, a social worker and activist. You can like this show's fan page at www.facebook.com/The Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio. Feel free to post any comments, questions, or requests for his book on the fan page. Now let's go into the studio with your host, Mr. Keenan Lake, and co-host, Marcus Select.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us right here on the Keenan Lake Show. How are you, Keenan?
Coach Marcus Select, I am doing wonderful today. We finally got through this snowstorm.
Yes.
We finally, got a chance to get some sunshine back in our lives after being hit. I think the entire East Coast was hit, Coach. I think you guys were affected by this, too.
Yeah, man. Snow, ice, rain, sleet, you know what I'm saying? It all came down, man. It all went down, it came down, shut down.
Exactly.
All I know is I lost a little money in the storm. You know what I'm saying? I lost a little something in there.
So you lost a little money in the storm, huh?
A little something, you know what I'm saying? Complete shutdown, shut me down, you know what I mean? It's all good.
I understand that, Coach.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it wasn't like, I think the last time you guys had that little snow, it affected you a lot worse than it did this time. So, and I think it probably, had a lot of kids on staying overnight at schools and sleeping in buses and stuff like that. So it was good not to hear that going on in Atlanta this time.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true.
Well, Coach, getting started with today, last week we had Mrs. Diane Caldwell from Pisgah Legal Services talk with us about the Affordable Care Act, ACA ObamaCARE. Mm-hmm. And I think she did a wonderful job explaining about ObamaCARE, explaining about, the insight, giving us a lot of insight about what to expect from the Affordable Care Act, but also breaking down some barriers and fears. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are fearful of Obamacare and don't know exactly what to think of it, but I think she did a wonderful job about explaining exactly what it is, what you can do, and gave us a lot of information about where to get services and help. So I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Caldwell for doing that. It was really a good show and very informative.
To your point, we were talking about this on last show, as you were saying. March 31st is the last time to enroll for 2014. Did you know that? There is no other enrollment for 2014 other than up to March 31st. I was kind of surprised. Did you see that information?
Well, I didn't see that. I think this is the thing, Coach. I think what they're trying to do is get everybody enrolled, because you're right. After March 13, you have to wait till the next spot. But I do think that there's a second enrollment. I think it may be August or September, something like that. But it's not. Well, main one.
I'm on the website now. It says healthcare.gov, and it says your last chance to enroll for 2014 is March 31st. If I said 13th.
Well, there it is then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there it is then. I understood that they were going to do a second enrollment maybe later on in the year, but maybe not. I don't know. But, I hope everyone listened to the show and was able to receive the information that she gave, so you can call and find out more information about the Affordable Care Act, because one way or another, Coach, what I do know is this. If you are a person who is eligible for it, if you're not eligible for it, it won't affect you, so to speak. But if you're a person who is eligible for it, and even if you don't enroll, once next year's taxes and stuff come, they're going to take that from your taxes. You will be penalized in the form of money. So,
well, let me read this. It says, now these are other ways to apply, right? The typical way to apply is go to the website, of course, and walk through the application. But I just clicked on, the what if, other ways to apply, rather. So it says, what if my income is too high to get lower costs on monthly premiums? If you're not eligible for lower costs, you can buy health care coverage through an insurance company or agent or broker online, so forth and so on. For information about these different ways to apply below, which is getting lower costs based on your income, is sometimes referred to as subsidies or tax credits. First, find out if you're eligible for lower costs. So, the guideline, which was my question last show, the guideline for an individual, right, is $45,960. This is if you don't already have health care on your job or something. The income guideline before you qualify for a subsidy is $45,960. And the income guideline for a family of 4, if you don't have it on your job, is $94,200. So that's some news right there. A lot of people, as you said, Keenan, are afraid because there's just the only thing we hear is the political hot potato conversations. You know what I'm saying? We're not hearing anything,
Exactly.
as your guest had said on last show. We're not hearing anything concrete about what's really real.
Exactly. So, Coach, jumping, kind of piggybacking off of last week and jumping right into today's topic. I want to talk about healthcare, but primarily how it affects us. This is Black History Month, so I want to talk to the audience about how healthcare and the lack thereof affects us. Primarily as a race.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach, and we've been talking about a lot of things over the last year on the Keenan Lake Show, but and we actually had a show primarily talking about men in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach, this is the thing, and I think I'm probably middle of the road. I'm not necessarily a spring chicken, meaning I'm not in my early 20s or teens and stuff like that. In fact, I'm in my 20s period, but I'm in my 30s, and so I'm not necessarily super young, but at the same time, I'm not super old. So I think I kind of fall in the middle category, Coach, when it comes to life and age and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say that, using myself as an example, okay. Now, of course, I have health insurance, and I'm grateful because I have an employer in the Buncombe County Department of Human Health Services who has wonderful health insurance, and I'm so, again, blessed to have health insurance that my job pretty much, takes care of for me. Of course, we have to work and we get it, but still, nonetheless, it's covered through my job. So,
mm-hmm.
with that being said, being a man, Coach, and I think this is, and I'm gonna actually bring this full circle later on in the show. But even with health insurance, sometimes, when I get illnesses, I get sicknesses, it's like, I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't need to run to the doctor for every little thing, and it's like, even having great health insurance, you still wonder about, or you still sometimes get tripped up on co-pays and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to have to go to this doctor and pay, even though my co-pays are fairly decent, like, I don't have to, it's not like I'm paying $500 for a co-pay or even $200 for a co-pay. But it's like to go to the ER or something like that, it's like $75. It's like, man, I'm not going to the emergency room and spend those $75 for this or to do with that and do this and the third. And I think, too, as men, that, because we talked about this earlier, later last year in 2013, particularly how old African American men, they don't go to they could be on their last leg and sometimes like, I ain't going to the doctor. I'm not going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Coach, I got sick earlier this year. In January of 2014, I ended up getting walking pneumonia, and I could have I went to the doctor, and when I had the bad cold, I could have got some drugs or something to kind of subside that, and it wouldn't have got as worse as it did. Thank God I bounced back, and I'm doing a little bit better now. But Coach, I think, and this is something that I read earlier, and this is true in all cases. When it comes to minorities, African Americans, we are minority, okay? When it comes to minorities, or underprivileged or poor, they suffer in every category, and this is not excluded in the medical health field. So this is something that minorities and African Americans and also underprivileged, meaning poor, need to take consideration. It's like, because at the end of the day, Coach, it's about health. It's about the quality of life that we're living. And even if we have to sometimes, suck it up, like, no matter how much it's going to cost, I need to go get checked out and get some type of treatment, some type of evaluation, some type of checkup to make sure what I have is not something that's going to affect me later on in life, or something that I can catch early, or something that I can get treated before it gets worse. Coach?
No, I mean, I think what we're going to be faced with, Keenan, I think I've said this before on the show when we were talking about this a while back, we're going to be faced with a paradigm shift. Every so many years, there is a law or some kind of act. The American for Disabilities Act, for example, changed how disability folks who would be enacted or inaugurated into the workplace. and it dismissed the myths and quotas by which companies could escape through by not hiring, for instance, handicapped workers that Disabilities Act. So every now and then, so many decades, something comes along that shifts the mindset, puts a check in the category of human dignity, if you will. So I think what you're saying, though, is that even for myself, for all of us, actually, particularly African Americans and those who may have been disenfranchised on a corporate level from these types of benefits, whether it be because of the type of employment or because of a number of reasons. But I think it's calling all of us, I think is what you're saying, to a paradigm shift that even myself, you get yourself ready to face another part of life that you have been denying. I mean, it's just as simple as that. You're right. Men in general, it's not really related just to the sex of men versus women, but men in general are more apprehensive about visits to the doctor. That's backed up by statistics. Women are more proactive. Yep, that's true. Women are more, you know what I'm saying? But we as men, I think we're facing a paradigm shift. And I think what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that in this particular ideal situation where healthcare will now be, quote unquote, available. I mean, there's still a lot of disputes about, affordability and, it's a lot of disputes out there. But the point of the matter is, at the end of the day, healthcare will be available for those who cannot afford it. Now, that being said, the question is, what will be my attitude as part of the minority who had been disenfranchised from these types of benefits for decades, for not just like yesterday, not last year, for decades? Only those who had it could even use it. Put that up against the fact that men really don't like to go to the doctor for any reason if they got health care. So I think we're being challenged as men, Keenan, to face our fears, as well as face what could be beneficial to the minority race later on down the line about men living longer. Should we shift like we should? This could be a good thing, actually. But at this point, it's all hands are up in the air, Ken.
I think you're right, Coach. Real quick before we go to our commercial break, Coach. You made a valid point, and this is the thing, and I'm going to talk more about men when we come back, because there was a study that I read over this past week, and it focused on men, primarily African American and Hispanic men, and it talked about the billions and billions of dollars, and I'll discuss this a little bit later. But Coach, the thing is this too, and I made a decision. When I got sick over the this past January, right after the Christmas break and New Year's break and stuff like that, I came back and I was, so to speak, Coach, in beast mode. I was trying to go and get it. We had our comedy show. I was actually in Atlanta the very next weekend with the young men and just doing a lot. And my body kind of started breaking down. And then with the type of work that I do, I'm around families and people every single day, all day. So you're at higher risk of being exposed to all kind of things. You're in and out of homes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But what I made a valid point, Coach, to say, even if it's something that, of course, now if it's a minor cold, I could treat that myself. But my vow that I made, these last couple of weeks is no matter what's going on, I'm going to get it checked out. Mm-hmm. Because this is the thing. There's only one me, and I don't have one body. I only have one me. And there's a saying, my grandparents used to say all the time, if you take care of your home, you take care of your car, they'll take care of you. Well, your body should be just as important as those things. You take care of your body, you get it checked out regularly, you get everything that you need to get done. When you have symptoms, because of course we know symptoms and things that are happening is the body's way of telling you something's not right. So getting yourself checked out regularly, going to see a doctor, I encourage everybody. Yeah. Say it, Coach.
No, I was just going to say, as you're talking about it, I feel the fear rising. I'll just being honest with you. I mean, so I think that the first thing that you're doing is we got to have conversations about these things, because the more we can talk about it and familiarize ourselves with what may be involved, if you're in your 40s and, you got to have the colonoscopy tests, and then There are several tests that you can have along the way, particularly when you start hitting your 40s. But I mean, Keenan, we gotta have some today. We're talking about it now, but Keenan, we're gonna have to have some conversation. We're gonna have to sit down and we're gonna have to talk about this more and more for brothers, for men to become more comfortable with this. This is gonna be, I'm moving away from the intellectual aspect of this whole thing. This is gonna be a hurdle, bro. We need to train for this right here. Let's keep it real.
You ain't never lied, Coach. Coach, that colonoscopy, is that what it's called? I don't think nobody on earth. Well, let me rephrase it. I don't think many people look forward. Many men look forward to having that done, and because I know I'm not. I can say, I know they say when you get in your 40s, it's starting the time to start having that thing done, and but that's several years away from now, so I'm not really worried about that yet. But Coach, let's go ahead on and go to break, and then when we come back, I want to interject a little bit more about the topic we're discussing today.
All right, guys, you're listening to the Keenan Lake Show right here on SIBN Radio, facing our fears about our health conditions now and in the future. We'll be back after the break.
We trust that you are enjoying the show. Stay right there. We'll be right back after these messages.
Responsible, accountable. Who taught you that? My daddy taught me that. That's right, the new book, all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, representing the legacy of Benny Lake, is Keenan Lake, the author of My Daddy Taught Me That, the book and the program for young men in Asheville, North Carolina, and throughout the region. Tune in to the program, the project, and the book at mydaddytaughtmethat.com. For more information, email lake@mydaddytaughtmethat.com or call 828-582-2261. That's 828-582-2261. mydaddytaughtmethat.com.
All right, we're thanking you for joining us right here on SIBN Radio with the Keenan Lake Show, man. I'm telling you, Keenan, you got my heart racing just a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you now. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I mean? But this is it's a testament, and we ain't even got a doctor's appointment on the calendar. You know what I'm saying? And my heart racing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know, Keenan. What are you after? What question do we need to ask to flesh out a balanced, you know what I'm saying, understanding of how to approach this stuff?
You know what, Coach? I don't necessarily know the questions, but I think a part of it too may be fear. Just being afraid of what the doctor may tell you. It's like, I think we all have had that situation where it's like, well, I feel like I'm okay. I'm doing good. Why should I go get a checkup now when everything's good? Or if I go into this doctor's office and he tells me something I don't want to hear, then my whole mindset changes. A lot of people believe that if they think about good things and, they don't think about the problem, then it'll kind of go away or their body, but when they hear the bad news, they start worrying about it all the time, and that sort of kind of breaks the body down even worse, and it's more of a mental thing. And I think there are even studies that show when you start to stress out about the issue and worry about it, it does have an effect on the body. However, like for example, Coach, you read about and hear about all the time about people who have went to the doctor and caught an issue before it got terminal. Like if you wouldn't have come to the doctor, this month, and you waited 3 months or 4 months down the road, this could have gotten a lot worse, and you could have been in a situation where it could have been terminal. But we found it in time to catch it and change it and treat it. So those are the things that I'm talking about. It's about being able to get yourself checked out, being able to get your symptoms checked out, and know that either one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to be fine, you're going to be okay, or they're going to find it in time enough to help you along the way, so it won't be nearly as bad as it could have been.
Well, one of the things that I have been trying to practice myself is first of all, going to the doctor if you're able to afford it, or if you're able to go to the doctor. First of all, because part of the fear is not just because we didn't want to go. Let's just talk about the psychodynamics of this whole situation. Part of the fear is that we couldn't go. What the freak? I mean, I'm not just going to call the thing a spade. We couldn't go to the doctor, or somebody we knew closely couldn't afford to go to the doctor, and we heard their horror stories. You see what I'm saying? And then perhaps, as an entrepreneur, you got to pay for your own insurance prior to this, ACA or ObamaCARE law, and or perhaps you switched jobs a lot because your career was different and you were in transition a lot. Any numbering of factors, but the bottom line is we're not all afraid to go to the doctor just for the hell of it. A lot of us were afraid because of the culture that we have been conditioned in regarding healthy living.
I think that's a very valid point, Coach. That is so valid. It's so true. And to elaborate and piggyback on that, too, not only that, Coach, but the stereotypes. Yeah. What I mean by stereotypes is this. When you walk into the hospital or doctor's office, when they know you may not have insurance, when they know you may not have enough money to afford it, I think the quality of care is different. I really do.
Now, see, you didn't start something.
The quality of care is different. In fact, Coach, let me just say this real quick. And I couldn't believe it. On Friday, me and my mom were talking, and she was telling me about a lady. It was an elderly black lady, and I want to say New York, but it was an elderly black lady, and she had went to the ER. Mm-hmm. She asked to see the doctor several times while in the ER, and they kept making her wait. Mm-hmm. This lady fell over, and she fell over out the chair onto the floor. A security guard came around the corner, looked at this lady, passed out like on the floor, mm-hmm. walked back around, and no one helped her up. It was 24 hours, Coach, that went by.
What?
When they came out and got this lady, and she had died. The lady died.
Are you
in the
serious?
ER, waiting to see a doctor. I could not believe it. In fact, I argued my mother down about it. I said, I don't believe this. This is not true. And she went. She pulled out her iPad, and she pulled it up. And sure enough, I looked at the video and saw it, and I could not believe it. I could not believe that they allowed this woman to sit in the ER for 24 hours without being treated. She had to see the doctor several times, and eventually she sat there and she died. She ended up dying.
Well, I mean, that proves my point right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head too, Coach. It's not about being afraid to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's about the type of those stereotypes being broken down as well. When you don't have maybe the insurance or the finances to pay it, and a lot of times people don't go because of that reason, or you already owe the doctor. You're already in the hole, thousands and thousands of doctors. You owe medical bills. And it's like, I'm not going to increase this. I'm already in debt over my, to my eyeballs and medical bills. I'm not going to go create or, have another bill that I have to pay for or can't pay for. Mm-hmm. So I'll just have to suck it up. But that's, to me, Coach. It's me, it's like this, and the way I think is like this. You get one time on this earth to do it. That's it. You get one time. So if I owe the doctor $1 billion. Then I just got to work and pay it off, so they'll never get it. But but I'll just be in debt paying it. As long as I'm healthy enough to I can live, then so be it. I'm gonna continue to go. Yeah, just add it to the collection. Until they tell me they're not gonna treat me no more. Like, well, we're not gonna treat you no more. And then that's when it might become a problem. But until they tell me that, I'm going. Like, I need you to help me out again. Now, Coach, not to over talk, but another thing that I wanted to say, there's two things before we run out of time. Another way to prevent going to the doctor so much, and another way to prevent having so many ailments and stuff, is healthy eating. And that's something else that I need to start looking into myself, because I don't eat as healthy as I should. But I know if you eat healthier, I think that's a lot of the problems that a lot of people are dealing with. We don't eat healthy. Our diets are not nearly as good as they can be, which is causing us to be overweight. I want to really, really put that out there, that if we start eating better, start taking a lot of these things that are bad for our diets out of our diets, will be better. But Coach, before I let you interject, going back to the men thing, the report that I read talked about African American men and Hispanic men, and it gave a time frame from 2006 to 2009, and it was a 4-year period that they talked about. In that amount of time, Coach, African American and Hispanic men constituted for the majority of the majority of bills that that had to go out to be paid, that from the man's standpoint, it was over, and it just goes to show you how much money that the medical field makes. It was in that 4-year span, it was like between 220 something to 425 billion dollars of medical health coverage that Hispanic and African American males had to get, and the reason that they had to get all these medical coverage and medical health was because they did not go to the hospital when they needed to. Mm-hmm. So the bills got that much higher because of the treatment that they needed was that much worse.
I mean, that's just to your point, though. You were saying that earlier. I think the first step that we have to all inaugurate into our minds, psychosocial, is maybe take a point or two from the women's playbook, which is we have to learn how to be more proactive. I think you're absolutely right about that. You and I were discussing off air about, hanging out at the gym, working with some weights, getting your cardio up, stretching, all of these things. I think the problem is we've been so stressed in life that we've forgotten the balance of preventative medicine as well as, treatment. I mean, if you got an issue or something like that, that's one thing. You're going to have something in this life. You're going to have something eventually. But I think the greater issue, the greater lesson is to learn or to inaugurate into our own psyche somehow that this is good for me. This is good for my life. As you were saying, as I said earlier off air, going to the gym, this is good for me. Drinking more water, this is good for me. Learning not to eat pasta past 6 o'clock. I need some help right there. This is good for me because I am not looking to, have to buy a whole new water. Whatever the case may be, I'm not looking to have to die of cancer because I'm stressed and I'm smoking. You know what I'm saying? So these varying decisions, Keenan, I think it's just that we have to shift. And African Americans, I'm not painting playing a violin or anything, but it's just like everything we do, it's just been an uphill battle. And so we got to put the word out on the street that this is a positive thing. We don't want to let this, the presence of this situation to be negative because no one takes advantage of what has been provided. Let's just put it like that. And then maybe start off, once you enroll in the Affordable Care Act, take the preventive step. If somebody have to coach you, if you need somebody to walk with you. I used to ask my wife to go to the dentist with me and hold my hand. I am not going to tell you no lie, because I had a few mean dentists in my history, and I do mean. So that created a fear for me. You know what I'm saying? But Keenan, this is going to be a conversation I think we need to have with some therapists, with some folks that work in the healthcare field, of course, as we did on last week. And we're going to have to overcome now the conditioning of not having easy access to healthcare, or at least not going broke over it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right, Coach.
And kudos to the young lady that came on last show. If you guys didn't get a chance to listen to that show on demand, it is on demand at www.mydaddytaughtmethat.com. When you see that little box there, you can click over to the right, and it'll show you the shows that Keenan Lake has done recently, and you can click the one where it says Affordable Care Act. And what was her name? Miss Caldwell, right?
Diane Caldwell, yep.
Right.
Diane Caldwell.
And you can listen to that right there on the site, www.mydaddytaughtmethat.com, or you can download that show and then listen to it that way. But Keenan, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. What do you think?
Coach, I think it has to be. I think, to get us, not only as a race, not only as a society, but as, to break some of those generational ties and generational curses type things, and to break down those barriers, Coach, that are out there, the stereotypes, all that stuff, and just being able to overall have an idea and have a consciousness about better quality of life and better health, period.
But you just said something that's very key. I want to just piggyback on that. You just said something that is key to our insurance. Prior to this Affordable Care Act, let's just put this out there on the table. Prior to this Affordable Care Act, one of the things that people got to understand is that risk factors and quality of life factors were measured differently for African Americans or minorities versus Caucasians. Right. Let's just put it out there like a TI is, okay? Quality of life expectancy is another issue. Life expectancy based on quality of life and risk factors. Those three dynamics played a key into whether or not you were able to receive quality health care coverage or quality health care in general. So, I mean, we need to talk about that in another show, the varying obstacles that African Americans have had to overcome, and not only African Americans, but minorities in general, whether they be Chinese or Japanese immigrants coming to this country, whether it be Hispanics, Latinos, and so forth and so on. But quality of life, that's a buzzword for insurance. And so insurance in this case has been checked. The ACA has checked. I don't play chess, but if I played chess, maybe somebody can tell us, you play chess, Kenny? You play chess?
I do. I do play chess.
What kind of move was made on the insurance companies with this ACA? I'm just saying. They've been checked.
But Coach, when you play chess, the most important piece on the board is the queen. Mm-hmm. So it looks like that. That's it. The Affordable Care Act. They got the queen. But the thing about it, Coach, is this. I think again, to alleviate those negative stereotypes, you have to call someone in your area and get the proper instructions and the proper help, because I don't think everyone realizes or even knows about how important the Affordable Care Act is and how many people and the people it is helping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And while you are calling I think she called it not ambassadors, but what was the name navigators. While you're looking for navigators, when you go to the website, it's going to ask you for the state and all that before you set up your account and all that. But while you are hesitating, please, ladies and gentlemen, as Keenan has said in one of his other shows, that which is being provided must be taken advantage of, because there are others sitting on the other side of the table trying to take that which has been provided away from us. I mean, it's very, very important that we realize that. And also, there are built-in penalties to justify the providing of these benefits. There are penalties built into this Affordable Care Act that will kick in this next tax season. So it's like you're going to be in a catch-22 if you don't make a move. You know what I'm saying? I mean, our time is gone, but Keenan, I think the point has been made. Number one, we got to change our paradigm on how we take care of ourselves. That's always a given. But number two, the Affordable Health Care Act is provided for us, but has built-in penalties that will take effect. Now, those folks who are in the lower income brackets who's used to getting a huge tax return because they got all them babies, let me just say that for a moment. let me just stop the music, okay? While you tripping out there, though, if you got 2, 3, and 4, and 5 babies, you are not excluded in this. And it's very interesting. This is the question I would like for you to ask Ms. Caldwell, Keenan, as we wrap up. What if someone is under the Affordable Care Act but does not follow through with the benefit of making sure that child goes to the doctor? I would be interested into knowing what, if there are penalties, what kind of penalty would be assessed for someone who qualifies but doesn't take advantage of that for the sake of the children. That'd be interesting.
Well, I think to answer your question, Coach, she said it loud and clear. If you qualify and you don't, then it will be taken out of your, your taxes. And what happens is this. I think for every individual, maybe it's $95, mm-hmm. but for children, it's half that. So it'll be $42.50, something like that. So basically, or maybe a little bit more than that. But anyway, basically, Coach, the point I'm trying to make is this. It will be, and for each child, you will have to pay for each child. So even if you qualify and you don't enroll, mm-hmm. not only will you not have medical coverage, so you have to be responsible for all of those medical bills, but they're still going to charge you. You're still going to be charged for it. Mm-hmm. 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 So, at least to my knowledge, that's what it seems like it is to me.
Well, we're going to keep researching it. We're going to keep researching it. We're going to have Ms. Caldwell on again as we get a little closer to the date. And as she continues to gather information and data that the healthcare.gov is reporting, or the president and his team is reporting back to the Department of Human and Health and Services. But Keenan, man, a great topic again today, man. Tell them how to follow you on Twitter and on Facebook.
Well, Coach, again, I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that SIBN is allowing a platform to do this kind of things and put the word out and give the information. Folks, you want to follow Keenan Lake on SIBN Radio, or follow me on the movement? My daddy taught me that. I can be reached at the KL Show. This is on Twitter. The Keenan Lake on SIBN Radio. That's one of my Facebooks. Also, My Daddy Taught Me That on Facebook. And finally, Keenan Lake. That's just my regular Facebook. Also, I'm on my website is mydaddytaughtmethat.com. Phone number, area code 828-582-2261. Those are the ways to get in touch with me. Before we get off the air, Coach, next Monday, February 24th, there is going to be a free event. It's called the Music from the Heart here in Asheville, North Carolina. This is going to be at Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. That is 56 Walton Street, Asheville 2801. Again, this is March the 24th at 7 p.m. It's actually going to be a soulful tribute to African American musical legends. The special guest artist is going to be Isaac Curry. And again, the tribute is going to be a tribute to Mahalia Jackson, Louis Armstrong, James Cleveland, Thomas Whitfield, Luther Vandross, and Marian Anderson. So if you don't have anything to do, next Monday, 7 o'clock, go down to the free event and join in the festivities. It's going to be a really good event, going to be a really good thing for folks to get out. And it's going to also be, I think Mission Hospital is going to be there dealing with some issues and talking about some health stuff as well. So I'm going to make sure I got that in. But folks, we love you. We thank you for joining the Keenan Lake Show. Continue to support and follow us. And we'll be seeing you again next Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, man, I had a chance, by the way, to interview Thomas Whitfield in my early media career. Interviewed him in Cleveland, Ohio. Of course, the late, great Thomas Whitfield, absolutely adorable and just a genius regarding music in general. But that's a feather in my cap that I won't let fly away. Thomas Whitfield, the late, great Thomas Whitfield. Hey, by all means, pay attention to all the announcements right here on the Keenan Lake Show. Thank you so very much for joining us. Don't forget, be mindful of the Facebook and Twitter posts. Thank you so much for all of those that took part in, I forgot to say this on the last show, in the Funny Are Us comedy show. Keenan, I'm not going to let you off the hook right here. You're going to have to go ahead and take a few minutes to give a few shout-outs because you did not do it in the last few shows. Keenan, go ahead and give your shout out now that you're healed and you're well and you're on your way. Go on ahead and give a shout out real quick to the folk that help us with the Comedy Are Us and the fundraiser to Keenan Lake. My daddy.
Well, you know, that was a wonderful event. That event took place on the 18th of January, and we had a really, really good turnout. But I want to give a shout out and thanks to Joe Green with KJG Entertainment. He was the one responsible for getting the comedians up here, and we had a really good time. And shout out to also Tyler Craig, who came up and made everybody laugh. We had a wonderful time with him. Mm-hmm. The ACA, which is Asheville Community Theater, and I said that's ACT, Asheville Community Theater, for allowing us the use of the facility. And finally, but not least, I want to give a big shout out to all of those who supported the My Daddy Taught Me That movement, supported me, who bought tickets, who attended. I really appreciate it. We really, really appreciate the support and love. But it was the first fundraising event that I had, and it turned out to be really well. The awareness that was shared and spreaded, and the word of mouth that was done, it was just a really good event. Mm-hmm. And actually, finally but not least, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Marcus Sillette and his wife.
Oh, man, appreciate it.
They actually
so you didn't have to even do that. See there? That's why you're at a loss for words. You didn't even have to even mention my name. You know what I'm saying? Katie, you still there? See, you ain't even
Coach, did I blank out for a second?
Yeah, you should have blanked out because you had to mention my name. You crazy.
Did I get cut off, Coach?
No, I didn't cut you off.
Oh, man.
You
Are
said,
we still on the air, Coach?
Yes, look, you said, I want to give a shout out to Marcus Sillette, right? And then it was a long silence like, okay, is he dead?
No, I got a call from you. I thought I got clicked off because your phone called me.
Hey, I'm still sitting here. I ain't calling.
I had an incoming call from. I said the Marcus. I'm free. See, that's crazy. I'm giving you a shout out and then you calling on the other end. That's crazy. But no. Listen, folks, for those who are on the air listening to me and Coach Marcus Gillette, folks, when I tell you he came up and he recorded the entire event,
wow, man.
He and his wife did a wonderful job. Yeah. Mrs. Celeste, thank you so much as well. It was a class act. The job well done. You guys did a wonderful job. The performance was great, but the service that you and your wife provided from SIBN was amazing. So, and if you haven't had a chance, go on the website, or you can go on Facebook and look at the promotion video that was done by SIBN Radio and Marcus Gillette. It was wonderful. So yeah, Coach, you playing on the phone, man. You got to stop that.
Hey, you try to give us some love. My phone is probably one of my phones somewhere saying, yeah, we need that love up in here in the A. But, man, thank you so much. And to all our fans out there for the Keenan Lake Show, man, we surely appreciate y'all also post. Hey, go ahead on that post up. We want to know also, Keenan, what they think about this Loud Murder music trial that just wrapped up in Jacksonville. So, hey, man, if you got any feelings about that either which way, let us know right there on the fan page, the Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio, because we want your feedback on that. If you have any expertise that you want to provide on how men can overcome their fears, or particularly African Americans or minorities can overcome their fears regarding preventive care and health issues and all that, hey, let us know. We're looking to hear from you. We may share or ask you to be a guest on the show, but you don't have to be, but we may use your input as we continue forth in the show, man. Thank you so very much, Keenan. I think that's a wrap, man. Thank you so much. The hospitality in Asheville, if y'all looking to get away into the mountains, y'all looking to get away in some peace and quiet and some good eating, Keenan, tell them where they can come for a good vacation, man.
Oh, man, anywhere in Nashville. You can go anywhere in Nashville and get some good food. We known for here, so that's why I'm so big. I got to lose some of this weight.
Hey, man, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much, Keenan, man. We'll talk to you guys next time. This is the Keenan Lake Show on
SIBN Radio.
Thank you for joining us today for the Keenan Lake Show. We know you will be empowered as you consider the content shared by Mr. Keenan Lake, co-host Marcus Gillette, and our guests. For more information about Mr. Keenan Lake, please visit www.mydaddytaughtmethat, and feel free to email us at lake@mydaddytaughtmethat.com. Books can be ordered from Mr. Lake by calling 828-582-2261. Until next time, you've been listening to the Keenan Lake Show on SIBN Radio.
There's only one philosophy that I have embraced under the Coach's Corner's umbrella, and that is that we are the common denominator in every situation. So I can't blame them, they, her, and him. I am stepping up to the plate, and I realize it's all me. Not that it's all about me, but it's all about the legacy for those that come behind me to achieve a height of success that I can't even imagine. This is called the transgenerational shift of mindsets, that we may propel ourselves into the generations that is to come and tell them, I won't leave you a mess that you have to clean up, but I'll leave you a principle-centered life that you can celebrate and catapult into more success. Join me on the Coach's Corner at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com, and follow me on Twitter. That's the only way you can keep up with the Coach. That's right, DCC is in the house on SIBN Radio. Tune in.
Stella, aka Sunshine, and we here in South Africa are tuned into SIBN Radio at www.415-96radio.com. If you would like to know more about the SIBN television and radio network, complete a contact form at the website www.415-96radio.com. Salet USA TV, reaching the world.